Hey, what's up, 745 versus Sky in the Ceiling? How you feeling, Katie?
I'm feeling conflicting feelings.
Conflicting. I'm feeling
I like our little. Today, Zach and I are talking about a topic that we're not masters at, but we feel like we've gathered some advice to share about it. It's a
yeah,
pretty common problem.
it
How
is
to disagree in relationships, all relationships, platonic,
all of them.
romantic, familial, everything. What are some
All of them.
hacks we have for you? So we're just gonna start spitting some facts for you. I have a list of advice that I've gathered through my life, and I'm sure Zach has a list in his mind.
I
Do you
do.
want to?
You can get the ball rolling. I'll
Okay.
find something to say.
I think in like conflicts, I think like the point is like you usually speak them. I mean, if you text them, that's quite interesting. But you could too, I guess. I would recommend you speak them in person because you can hear tone.
I
But I think
agree.
it's less about speaking and more about listening. It's a very common piece of advice. And it's not very, I mean, for most, it might not feel practical because you're like, oh, in the moment, I'm going to forget it. I think, and I learned this through journalism actually, for things that you want to be more careful about when you talk, don't be the first one to speak. In fact, try your best to be the second one to speak. If you're both using this advice and now you're both waiting for each other to speak, that's a little awkward. But
Yeah.
for the most part, you should try being the second one to speak. And before you speak, count 3 seconds. After they're done and you hear a silence from them, count in your head 1, 2, 3, and then think what you're going to say because it stops you from saying things that are rational. And you're going to likely forget this information in the moment. So the easiest thing to remember is just not stop talking until they're done talking, the person you're conflicting with.
Yeah. I literally you kind of stole my main point where it's like if you take time to understand the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it, they will appreciate that so much more and they'll save both of you so much energy because I feel like half the battle is getting the other person to understand.
Where you're
But
coming from.
on that same point, coming from like the other side of like when you are speaking, tone
Tone, tone,
matters
tone.
so much. So that's why I like hate like conflicting over text, like call, FaceTime, in
Yes.
person, whatever.
Emojis are not enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry. Your emoji of this isn't gonna cut it for me. But anyways, no, just it's all about like you could say the same sentence, but if you say it even passive aggressively or just with some like malintention in your voice, it's just not gonna go
Absolutely.
over well. So I just say tone, try and stay relaxed. Even if you are angry, I would say take a breath within those 3 seconds that Katie mentioned earlier, take a breath and then speak.
Honestly, I would just I mean, it's different for everybody, but I would try not to have the resolution discussion until you're both calm and not angry anymore.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
or like not heated because it's just not gonna end up well. And you're gonna get personal and weird and it's not gonna even be about the problem anymore and you're just gonna be mean. And that's only gonna deepen the issue. I would also say on Zach's point of tone, you should realize that you guys are on the same team. You're fighting towards the same issue, which is fixing the problem. You're not me versus Zach, for example, me versus my mom. You know what I mean? So your tone should be in the way of teamwork, of pleasing. You should want to make a little, what's that thing? You should want to compromise, sound compromising, ready to compromise. And I think things would go better for you than if you're feeling like it's me versus you. I'm attacking you. My point just be your point. Because guess what? You winning the argument is losing the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
fail.
That's really good.
That's
I like
considered a loss. You
yes.
lost. So, yeah, it's important to see it as it's a collective win rather than an I win and you suck.
Yeah.
Because then you suck. You all suck.
I would even say that like some people just argue to argue.
Yeah,
And then like if you're not willing to come into it with a compromised perspective of like I'm willing to change my perspective as I'm trying to change theirs, like then that's where progress can be made. But if you are so set in stone with your feelings, sometimes you have to be able to just say like this is how I feel and I'm not going to change it, and then that's kind of where like it ends. And so like I think just like the being okay with the disagreement and not trying to convince each other of things they don't want to believe, that's where peace can be made.
absolutely. And I think this goes further than just like one on one relationships. I think a lot of times in our country in general, the inability to have a conversation of disagreement and just be comfortable and being like, okay, agree to disagree. We're just not ever going to get on the same page. And that's fine. We can still be friends. We can still hang out. We don't have to be the same person with the same opinions and the same ideas about life and the same morals, right? So being comfortable in disagreement and not being aligned should be something we can all get better at. I mean, there's a point in time where the Republican presidential candidate and the Democratic president were friends. They were
Yeah,
not opponents, really. They were friends, and they would say, "Oh yeah, we're against each other, but it's fine. I still respect you as a person. I
they would
still think you're
even,
great."
like, compliment and agree with each
Yeah,
other.
and they would even at their own, like, rallies, when someone would say something racist about each other, like, for Obama and John McCain, like, they would defend each other. Like, it got to, like, that point of camaraderie that I think we need to bring back.
I agree. Yeah, it's like that I think is actually, like, an effective political strategy, complimenting
Absolutely.
your opponent, because like, it shows that you're not trying to go against, Republican or Democrat. It shows that you're both there to help create, like, a better America.
Yeah, you're just trying to do the we the people part, which is
Yes.
the only important part. Yeah.
Yes.
I would also say something to talk about that I actually not only struggle with myself, but like have heard other people struggle with is for disagreeing relationships. I think it's hard to sometimes take criticism on your character. It's always hard to take criticism, I think. And like in school, how you write, how you read, how you did math, that's always hard. But that's like more like school.
Mhm.
I think when comes to your character, who you are, what your actions are doing, how you're either hurting somebody or bothering somebody, that the criticism is very hard to take with like humility. I struggle
Yes.
with it consistently, and I think that part of it, like I don't even know what advice I could really give, but I do think part of it is just humbling yourself, and really, there's so much space to grow. There's
Mhm.
so much, and if I was the person who's giving the criticism, I would say, "I just want us to both get better." Like, I don't want to push you down so that I can be up. I wanna give you some criticism so that you can eventually grow to be up too.
Yeah, I would say definitely taking criticism, especially of your character, is like it's like such a fragile thing because your
Right.
character in short is kind of just like your essence
That's
and
who
like
you
how
are, your identity.
it's like your truest self. It's like how you put yourself out to the world. And so if someone dislikes that, it's like can be very like damaging because like, that's your image. But I think that like just personally, I come at it with like well, okay, do they have a valid point or should I still try and stick true to myself? And so there's like a fine line in between. And, I don't try and like not do something that I wouldn't do, but I also don't try and be like just ride or die just because I think this would be funny and what cool, whatever. I'm just going to do it and disregard everybody else. Because honestly, that's like part of my character. I believe in, like helping others and being a part of the group and like contributing. And so if I'm being a lone wolf, like that's not really contributing.
Right. Yeah. I also would like to say that just because you disagree, and even if you have many disagreements, that does not equate to an unhealthy relationship because it is the ones who, I mean, it's how you handle it that equates to it. But if you can handle a disagreement well and healthily, that is a sign of a strong relationship to be able to tell the truth when it really counts and, share your opinion and grow together. And you know what? It's a very vulnerable thing to say you have a problem with somebody. As a
Mm,
person who's quite the people pleaser, and I know Zach and I are both kind of like this, it's very hard to say, I don't like this. I can't please you right now because I disagree, right? So
mm,
being vulnerable in that way is such a big way to grow in a relationship and like be better friends, have a better relationship with your parents. So
yeah.
I think that it's important to be okay with not agreeing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Katie, especially like when it comes to like confrontation. Like me, like I'm not great at confrontation. Like I would rather like fix it. I don't want to make an official confrontation. That would be like not optimal for me because I feel like then I'm kind of like attacking someone. I think
Right.
like if like you can just work it out like subtly, that's like I don't know, that's the solution I like. But to be honest, like if you can go up to someone and be like comfortable in being saying like I have a problem with this, that's when like I feel like not only is that shows like how close you are in like a relationship, but it shows like how comfortable you are with the person and saying that like you're just you want change. And like you're saying that because you don't want to get rid of the relationship.
Right.
Want it to stay. But to do that, you just want it some things are just gonna have to change.
Yeah. And, part of that, I think, to be, if we're talking about like more practical ways to do it and to be proactive, something that you can do to not even get to the point where they have to be like, I need something that you're not giving, or we need to fix something. Because I think I'm not to get like this. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, but there is something about this I read something about Charlie Kirk that I think if you take him outside of who he is, the thing that he does, right, for his wife is he will tell her proactively before she says, "You're not doing this for me. I'm not feeling loved," whatever. He says, "Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything I'm not doing or I'm missing out?" To be proactive and say from yourself and have this humility to say, "Where am I falling short and how can I be of service to you?" is so important. And I think like that's gonna fix everything before it gets messy because not only are you gonna fix the resolution, it's gonna be it come from such a good place because you're gonna be like, wow, oh my god, you consider me important enough to want to fix things yourself and want to be better. So I fear like if life is going well and you think, oh, everything's going great, I think we're going great, maybe you just will ask because there's nothing. What if they say like, oh, nothing, we're both good, then you're confirmed in that, right? You want to ask or like not like consistently like and be like, what can I do for you? Because then you can fix things before they get big, and when they're small, it's easy to, you know.
But and actually, like, to wanna add on to that point because, like, I feel like when someone asks, like, "Oh, is there anything I can do?" I mean, obviously, there's, like, a partner relationship where there's, like, expectations, but I think that, like, the person reaching out, because like, we're not all mind readers is the
No
thing.
one is a mind reader. Not we're
Well,
not all. Yeah. Sorry. Did you have that power that I was I
no, I'm just kidding. Anyways, and even me, I'm not a mind reader, but I think that, like, if you are getting asked, like, "Is there anything I can do?" That is your time to be brutally, maybe not brutally honest, at least just honest with them and really think, like, "Is there something I can do?" And if even if you can't think about it in the moment, you say, "I can't think about it right now, but if there is something, I'll let you know." Because, like, it's just so, like, helpful for both sides of the relationship just because it's just like you said earlier, it's just that common goal of, like, both improving.
Yeah. And to add on to that, I think there's a common thing for more romantic relationships where it's like, if he wanted to, he would. If he really wanted to, he would. And for some things, yeah, if he really wanted to get married, he would obviously propose. If he really wanted to, blah, 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 whatever. But there are some things that he's just like, the person just cannot know. Like, you just have to speak your truth. And I get that. Like, you're like, I want them to know without me saying anything. But it's unrealistic. And I think we put that on a higher pedestal of like somebody to like know you so well that they can tell when you're upset and whatever. And I mean, there's some cues that they should lock down, but for the most part, you have to speak up for yourself and communicate your needs. And that is honestly the downfall is when you let things build up because you're not willing to communicate. And that's kind of on your part for not communicating. So being able to speak your needs and deliver them with the right tone so you're not sounding demanding and, very pissed off is great. And
Yeah,
also asking even when you say, like, "I need this from you," also say, like, "Is there anything you need from me? Because I'm
yeah.
feeling a little bit like this. I'm sure everyone sometimes feel like that, so, like, do you feel like that too?"
Yeah, I think reciprocation, especially in conflict, is an amazing thing because they're saying something to you, you have to internalize it and show you understand it back to them. And then same thing with just like, if in the relationship, you're getting like, your friend or whatever is treating you nicely or like your partner is like loving you affectionately, then like it's good to reciprocate, show your love language back. And I think that kind of just like helps relationships not be so like lopsided.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't really have much more to add to that, but I think that overall, humility is one of the hardest virtues to have for anybody because
Mm.
we like to think of ourselves so highly. But if you try to work at it every day, it's kind of like a muscle. The more you work at it, the better you'll be. And so staying humble is going to be your ticket to having good relationships, I think.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely. Great.
Listen.
So we hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving with all your familial, platonic, romantic relationships. Have a great November. We'll see you in December.
Bye. Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.